Hey, it's Jenna from Sweet Mom Bod, and in this video I'm going to share a bit about what diastasis recti is, how you can do a self-check to see if you might have it, and if you realize that you do have it, what are some next steps that you can take. So first things first, what is diastasis recti? Well, we have these six-pack muscles, the rectus abdominis, that runs from about our pubic bone to our breastbone here. And during pregnancy, the line in between the two sides of the rectus abdominis, the linea alba, it's a piece of connective tissue that connects the two sides of our rectus abdominis, the left side and the right side. And during pregnancy, what ends up happening as your belly expands, as you go from that raisin to the watermelon, or whatever your app is saying, what ends up happening is that connective tissue stretches to accommodate for that growing baby. So it's totally normal. This is very normal. If you realize that you have diastasis recti during pregnancy, don't freak out. It's okay. It's a normal part of pregnancy for those muscles to expand. The problem is that some women after pregnancy, when baby is gone, that pressure is gone, belly comes back, the two sides of the rectus abdominis don't always come together fully, and you might end up having this gap that leads to all sorts of issues. It could lead to back pain. You may find that it is leading or contributing to some incontinence or peeing yourself a little or a lot. You may find that when you're doing certain exercises like crunches and planks, you're getting some doming or bulging. You may be trying to eat healthy and get a nice strong body, but you still have it kind of looks like you're a little bit pregnant and you can't figure out why. That could also be a sign that you have diastasis. All sorts of different ways that your body is showing you some signs and symptoms with diastasis recti. Now I want you to keep in mind, just before we do the self-check here, is that it's not just about how far apart the two sides of the rectus abdominis muscle is, it's how deep that gap is as well. Because that linea alba, that line of connective tissue there, as it stretches during pregnancy, the idea is that it's going to bounce back and we're going to have some nice density and we're going to be able to have a fully functioning core again, where when we're doing any kind of exercises that uses the core, which I mean, it's every exercise that uses the core, right? We get that tension, we get that linea alba working like it should. So I don't want you to focus so much on how wide the gap is, and I don't even want you to focus so much on how deep the gap is. The most important thing to focus on is function. Do you have a fully functioning core? That is what we want to focus on. But with that in mind, there is a way to test for if you have diastasis recti to feel for that gap. First things first, you want to know that if you think that you have diastasis or you know that you have diastasis, when you're coming up and off of things or down onto things like floor, bed, things like that, it's a smart idea to roll over onto your side and then come onto your back, because this kind of action or this kind of action can put a lot of pressure on the rectus abdominis muscles. And if you have diastasis recti, if you haven't gained full function back yet, the muscles aren't working as properly as they could. So we don't want to put more strain on them than is necessary. So with that in mind, what I want you to do is, if you have clothes on, which I guess unless you're in a nudist colony, you probably have clothes on, I want you to expose your tummy, just because that way it's easier for us to feel for stuff here. And your first task, all I want you to do, easy peasy, is to just feel along your abs here, along that line, that linea alba, which runs along the same line as about your belly button there. I want you to just feel along that line. And what you're feeling for is any change in density. So I'm not talking about fat, I'm not talking about things being squishier in one area because of fat. Don't worry about it, that's not a big deal. what we're looking for here is the actual linea alba itself, that connective tissue. Does it feel bouncy? Does it, when you're pushing down, do you feel like it's hard for you to push down? Or can you like pretty much get like your fist right to your spine? That's going to give us an indication of the strength, the density of that linea alba. So do that for a little while here, just feel around. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do a crunch-like motion to feel for that gap. It's not a crunch, it's not like a full sit-up or anything like that. It's just a gentle head and shoulder lift there. So what you're going to do is take your hand and place it on your belly here. Put a bit of pressure on, that way you're going to be able to feel for the ridges, because that's what we're feeling for. We're feeling for the two sides of the rectus abdominis to see if there's a gap between them. So push down with the fingers and then gently lift the head and shoulders off the ground and feel along that linea alba. You don't have to stay up there for a very long time, and you can do a couple tests. You can come up and feel around for a little bit, come back down, do it again. And what we're looking for, again, is that ridge. Can you feel a gap in between the two sides of your rectus abdominis, and how deep down does it go? Remembering that it's not about the gap, it's not about the depth. What the most important thing that we're focusing on is that function. So depth is more important than gap, but overall it's that function that we're looking for here. We want to see, when you're performing certain activities, do your ab muscles respond appropriately, and are they able to heal? Are we, when we're doing our rehab exercises, are we getting stronger over time? Those are the important things that we want to focus on. So you've done the self-test. You're thinking, I have diastasis, what now? Well, first things first, don't worry. I don't want this to be a fear-mongering situation where you're thinking, oh my goodness, I have diastasis, what's gonna happen? Are my abs gonna ever feel or look the same again? Oh my goodness, I know it can be really scary. Don't worry, there is hope. There is always hope. You can find the right people to get on your team to help you on your rehab journey, whether that's a physiotherapist or physical therapist, a doctor, nutrition, coach, fitness coach, someone who has a good background and understanding in diastasis recti that can help you with all the different ways that you can help heal your body, which is nutrition, exercise, breathing, alignment. All these things are important to help heal that diastasis recti. So get the right people on your team if you're unsure of what to do next. The second thing you need to know is that if you're used to doing more traditional core exercises like sit-ups, crunches, planks, toes to bar, if you do CrossFit, boat pose, if you do yoga, these kinds of things can put a lot of pressure on that rectus abdominis, on that linea alba. And as we talked about, when we have a diastasis recti, our ab muscles are probably not working correctly. So what we need to do is retrain, get that mind-muscle connection going again, get that strength back, and then maybe down the line, we can get back into those activities if our abs are responding appropriately. So first things first, get yourself checked out if you want a second opinion. Second, you can start doing some exercises that can help strengthen your core and pelvic floor, and these are whole body exercises. I have some examples in the video linked below this one, so feel free to check that out. And then lastly, avoid some of the more traditional ab exercises until you've got that strength and function back and you know that your abs are responding appropriately. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that it was more helpful than fearful. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll chat with you soon. Bye.